So you beautiful people, it's Trakky and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to speak about the decision by Activision to not release Season 4 because of everything that's going on in the world at the moment. And then we're going to speak a bit about that as well. So it's going to be a bit of a different video that we usually do on the channel. I know you're looking at me right now thinking, God damn it, he needs a haircut. And believe me, I do. COVID-19, barbers closed and all that. So I'm sorry. I'm going to probably attempt to let the missus have a second go on her haircut. She did quite well on the first one, to be fair. But I really wanted to speak about what's going on here. My opinion about the decision by Activision not to release Season 4 yet. And then I just wanted to speak kind of, off the cuff, no editing. I just wanted to speak to you guys about the situation and my feelings. So a lot of you may remember that show I used to do on Sundays on my channel called The Real Life Show, where I used to give you chapters and episodes of my own personal life and things that I'd actually gone through, like depression, debt, funny stories about me and my brother blowing up aerosol cans and stuff and him burning off his eyebrows. And a lot of you guys really liked those particular episodes and asked me to do that show again. And today it's going to be real life, isn't it? That's what we're talking about. What I will say is this video may or may not offend a few of you, and you may choose to unsubscribe or dislike the video, and that is your prerogative at the end of the day. I cannot be mad at you for that. What I will say is, before you make those decisions, at least listen to what I've got to say and then make that decision from there. So let's talk about this statement first. While we all look forward to playing the new season of Modern Warfare, Warzone and Call of Duty Mobile, now is not the time. We are moving the launches of Modern Warfare Season 4 and Call of Duty Mobile Season 7 to later dates. Right now, it's time for those speaking up for equality, justice and change to be seen and heard. We stand alongside you. So I want to praise this statement, but at the same time, I have to criticize it. Why do I want to praise it? Because the more people that join in against the injustices and inequalities and see them and call them out for what they are and stand up against them, the better it is for everybody at the end of the day. However, we are talking about a computer game here, and during my battle through depression, one of the things that helped me through it no end was gaming. It was my way to escape the real world atrocities, trials and tribulations that were going on in my personal life. And I feel like just dropping Season 4 would be the distraction I really need right now. And I'm not saying that I don't want to see what's going on, because I have to see what's going on. I mean, look at me. But I just feel like every day I wake up at the moment, I go on Twitter, try and talk to you guys. It's in my face. I go on Facebook to try and talk to my American family. It's in my face. I turn on the news in the morning just to have some background noise. Well, not even the news, the telly. I turn on the telly to have my morning coffee and just have some background noise. And then something will come up that will talk about this situation. It's inescapable at the moment, and it's absolutely exhausting. It really is exhausting. To see what happened to George just really made my stomach turn. And I feel like it was ever more personal with me, not necessarily because I'm a black guy, well, obviously because I'm a black guy, but I've been in a situation where I very well could have lost my life to the hands of police, which I will explain in this video. But what is really hard for me at the moment is the bickering and arguing between people who are not seeing the bigger picture. And it's quite simple for me right now. There's everyone, and then there's racists. There's not white people trying to help black people. It's white people who don't want to see racists carrying out their day-to-day job. I'm seeing police officers kneel down with protesters. I'm seeing police officers saying they stand with protesters because of what they've saw from their colleagues, their counterparts, people who work within their job. It's been overwhelming in reality. It's been really overwhelming. And you may be sitting there thinking to yourself, well, Trakky, how does this really affect you? I know it affects you, but how does this really affect you? You're in the UK. This happens in the UK all the time. You guys just don't hear about it because you don't hear about it. Does it happen as often? No, we've got a lot less people here for it to happen, but it happens in a ratio. And the media do the same thing to try and have us at loggerheads with each other, to try and race bait, to try and have us continually fighting, because bad news sells. That's the game. Now, in regards to this statement here, a part of me feels as if it's clever marketing. And I say this because I've sat there and looked at the gay pride movements with all these different companies changing their logo to the gay pride colours in support of gay pride. But are they really supporting gay pride? Or are they just trying to secure a demographic? That's just me playing devil's advocate here. And that's how I kind of see this. And a lot of companies are starting to do it now. Do we need to raise awareness? I think everybody is aware. And for those of you who aren't aware, it's because you don't want to be aware. And that's a massive problem. We always seem to divert from the conversation that we need to have. Right now, we're talking about a police officer kneeling on George Floyd's neck, and whether that is right or wrong. Well, we know it's wrong, but there should be a prosecution and people should be sent to jail. We always talk about good cop, bad cop, but for me, every cop that is good, that watches a bad cop perpetrate these kind of things, is automatically a bad cop. And I've seen plenty of good cops take over a situation that was clearly going to go bad in my personal life. I'm talking about my interactions with police here. 99% of interactions I've had with police have been good. They may not have started off good, and a couple of them could have gone really wrong, but there was just this one police officer that got involved, and I knew what they were doing. They were clearly diffusing the situation because they knew themselves where it was about to go and what it was about to look like to everybody else watching. But they had the nous to do their job correctly. They had the courage to do their job correctly. And this is the problem. This is why people are outraged. Now, when I say people are outraged, people out there rioting, looting. Do I condone this? No. I don't condone rioting and looting, because those same people who are standing up for that cause are destroying businesses of the same people they are trying to fight for, who don't have insurance, or insurance won't pay out. So now their livelihood is destroyed because of those people who are trying to put out that message for those people. And at the same time, people are bringing in their own agendas when they're rioting. There have been plenty of people out there that are protesting peacefully. But it doesn't always work that way, and I understand that. Sometimes people get frustrated and it boils over. And that's what happened with me in my police situation. I was frustrated with my life because I was depressed. And funnily enough, it was Call of Duty that this all started from. Me raging on the game because things weren't going my way. I was having a really bad day. My other half chose to have a go at me for playing the game, and we ended up in an argument, shouting and screaming at each other. My next door neighbour didn't get along with both of us. She called the police, and she was a black woman. She called the police on me, a black guy. My missus is mixed race also, and she reported a false accusation of domestic abuse. We was just having a go at each other. You're always on the game, rah rah rah. You don't pay attention to me. No. I'm depressed. You know how it gets. And we had a knock on the door, and my missus opened the door, and outside was 2 police officers. This is her explaining the story to me because I didn't see this portion. I had my headset on, so I'm willy-nilly playing my game with my headset on, ignoring the world because I was depressed playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. And then my headset gets pulled off. So I've spun around thinking, what are you doing, babe? To see a white guy standing over me, police officer. And his first words to me was, "What's happening, gangster?" Now, in the UK, we have a law where if there's a report of domestic violence, the police are allowed in your house. You have no say. They can kick your door off. It's because there have been so many women that have, God bless their souls, died to domestic violence. So I get the law, but I also get how it can be abused, as it was abused on that particular day. Now you can imagine my response as somebody in their own home thinking, what is a police officer doing standing in front of me calling me a gangster? I was sat down, he was stood up. His nether regions were quite close to my face, I may add. So I chose to stand up. Immediately me standing up is being classed as a sign of aggression. I'm in a tracksuit. All the derogatory terms you can throw at me have been used. The next officer that stepped in was an Asian guy, Officer Patel. And let's just say I had a few choice words to say about, you can't speak to me like that. I pay my taxes. I pay your wages. I know, not the best way to not wind up a police officer. I can admit that. But it doesn't give you the right to put your hands on me. Sticks and stones and all that sort of stuff. And I was manhandled in my own home. I lived in a apartment, so my apartment was above my neighbour. And my living room was basically my living room and my kitchen was basically a rectangle split in half. And we ended up in the kitchen. They were trying to arrest me. Obviously, I didn't allow them to arrest me because they didn't tell me what I was under arrest for. Now Jade came in, wondered what the hell was going on. And it became a bit of a struggle where they tried to slam my face on the counter and damn well nearly knocked out my teeth. So evidently, what would you do when you're falling? You try and free your hands. And during me trying to free my hands, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I only weigh 11 stone. I'm 5'9". This guy was probably 16, 17 stone. Naturally, I tried to save myself, and I apparently struck an officer in the face. And it was Officer Patel that claimed this. And what was hard for me to see in all of this was him who could have been the good cop and a man of colour watch another cop be blatantly racist. And when people talk about systemic racism in the police force, whether it be the UK or America, I'll tell you what systemic racism is. The fact that he was willing to lie for his colleague to save his colleague's face. The fact that they were willing to taser me in my own home, and then when my missus tried to stop them from dry tasering in my head, telling her, "Do you want to be arrested as well?" Me getting dragged out my own home with no toenail because they'd stamped on my bare feet, dragged me down the stairs, threw me in a van. And when I tried to say to the other police officers, "You gotta believe me, I didn't do nothing here. I had black eye, my nose was bleeding, I had all cuts and bruises, barbs hanging out of me from the taser," they chose to turn on the fan, the extractor fan in the van, slam their brakes on at every junction, and go around each corner as if we was on a rally course. And it was only until I got to the booking on point in the police station where their sergeant said, "What the fuck has happened to him?" And I said, "Officer, there's no point me saying anything because you're not going to believe me." Then I was taken to hospital because I'd obviously been tasered and they had to monitor me. And that changed my view of police officers for life. And it's still very nerve-wracking for me to be approached by a police officer. And I totally get this whole situation. Am I somebody that goes around saying it's all white people's fault? No, because my nan is a white woman. 3 of my grandparents are from Jamaica. 1's from here and she's white. So that doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out she was with a black man. And she went through no end of racism from both sides. She had black people questioning her, "Why are you with a black man?" And then she had white folks who disowned her totally because she was with a black man. And this is what it boils down to at the end of the day. You can either stand up and fight for equality and justice for the real reasons and the right reasons, or you can sit there and bicker about the trivial matters or the matters that have nothing to do with the current conversation, which is what I'm seeing a lot of lately. But black people are killing black people. That's not the conversation. That's not the conversation. And if you're more worried about that than police officers killing black people in the street, yes, they're killing white people also. And I've had stats and figures thrown at me. But the fact of the matter is, yes, more white people are killed by police officers in America, and more white people are killed in the UK by police officers yearly. But when you start to put the ratio together of how many black people actually exist in those places and how many are dying, then you really get the picture. So for me, it's kind of a message to all of you guys out there to stay as safe as you can. Try not to get involved in the bullshit and get involved in the right cause, because it's hard for me to sit here and watch you guys at loggerheads when you shouldn't be. At the same time, I have to say I'm really proud to see all of my white friends, white colleagues who have stood up and tried to lift up people like me who are really having a hard time now. It's tears of frustration really that you're seeing at the moment, because this is really hard, and I don't think some of you get it. It's really hard. It's a daily thing for me to wake up and think to myself, sometimes I don't want to be a black person because it's hard, and I've watched certain things go against me because of my colour. But at the same time, don't get it confused, I have to say I'm very proud of who I am and what I've achieved. And there are black people out there that use it as an excuse to not achieve what they could achieve. So, as always, it's a double-edged sword. It's really a double-edged sword. And this whole race thing is just... I wish everybody was see through. That's the best thing I could say here. So my message to all of you guys is, I know it's a computer game, and I know some of you are angry that it's not being released, and I totally get why. But whatever you're doing at the moment, just be careful. Be careful. Because black, white, Asian, whatever you are, I don't want none of yous going out there protesting and getting hit by a stray bullet or whatever it is, or a car or a brick, or getting just one strike to the head with a baton that ends your life. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say to you guys today. I apologize for getting upset, but this is real. This isn't a joke. This is real. And it's hard. It's hard.